Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast, the second in 2 days because we've done our Cheltenham preview and post preview. Check that out. It is out there now, and there's lots of good info for you there. But this is the weekend preview where we're going to be looking at racing from three different tracks: Newbury, Kelso, and Doncaster, and plenty to get our teeth stuck into with Steve Jones and Adele Mulrennan. Welcome along. All the normal spiel at the start. I'm just going to move back a bit because of that drilling noise, which is happening next door. And it's going to be very annoying for you to listen to, but it will stop soon. Let's move into our first preview then. The 1:15 at Newbury. Adele Mulrennan, take it away. Who do you like?
Take it away. Well, I was more stronger on ASO, I suppose, pre-Dex, because Dingo Dollar was in there and I thought he was just going to keep his weight down a little bit, but the weights have gone up £6. He's not running, so... and I thought, his performance last time, I thought the excuses were probably he was given the first two a stone, but surely it won't be long before ASO is back into the winner's enclosure. And he's been placed in a few of these qualifiers. He's dropped down another £5 from that last run. And, his mark of what was 158 now down to 142. I know at Sandown in the final, he didn't run that great, but the ground was atrocious that day. I think there was only 5 finishers out the 12, and I know he does handle heavier conditions, but I thought that he is better on better ground. So I was trying to look for something to oppose him at the weights, but I'm going to stick with Ace. So hopefully it'll be his day on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree, Adele, definitely. Sorry to hear that your wife is having her teeth done, Tom, but I'm sure the dentist will be finished soon. But I agree totally, Adele. And the only things that I would add really was that I think ASO is better on better ground, certainly over this distance. I think on more testing ground over shorter, he's all right. And I think the other thing to note about his last 2 runs, which was at Sandown when, like you say, he was pulled up on heavy ground. And then last time at Exeter when he was last to 3. He doesn't really like going right-handed. He's much better going left-handed. I thought that the market might be a little bit different and that Corto Rico might get a bit excited about him because he has run well recently, Corto Rico, but he doesn't win and he just sort of plugs on at the end. So it looks like everyone's spotted that and they've gone for ASO. I wouldn't worry about him having top weight either. He's a horse that has carried top weight very well in the past. In fact, he was second to 2 for Gold, who is obviously a good horse under top weight last season, I think it was. And he's well used to carrying big weights. So, yeah, ASO with Venetia Williams still in good form, even though the stable, she said a few horses were a bit under the weather, but it doesn't seem to really have affected them too much. She's still going she was going at more than 20% in February. So ASO for me.
I thought that comment about the horses being under the weather was interesting because you look at the strike rate, it's fine, but almost I don't think anyone would have thought about it until it was mentioned. For the second podcast, or weekly podcast in a row, I'm a no bet in our opening race, even though it's a nice, decent sized field handicap. I didn't want to back ASO, and then I didn't know what to take him on with. I've got a bet in every other race, I assure you, but this one was just all hinged around ASO, and it scared me getting involved, so I don't want to get involved with this one. As the Veterans Handicap Chase, 1:15 at Newbury. Let's kick on to the next of the races we're going to be previewing. This is from Kelso. It's the Premier Novices Hurdle. It's the 132. Richmond Lake is 3.0. North Lodge is 4.0. 6.5 for Shollock Jack. Bold Endeavour is 8.5. It's Good to Laugh and Nell's Son are both 11.0. And then we're into slightly bigger prices. Adele, come straight back in with you, please.
I thought North Lodge would have been a little bit shorter than Richmond Lake. I suppose he's second to John Bon, I suppose, is probably factoring that in. But I think this is a very rare runner, isn't it, for Alan King up in Scotland? I don't think he's even had a runner before at Kelso.
Probably not a Kelso. I mean,
he never had a reason to go up there, really, I suppose. But
he targets the big races up there, doesn't he? Like Scottish National stuff. But yeah, I suppose not.
I had a look and he's not down to have had a runner there. So let's hope they find the place. I'm sure they will. It's been a long journey up from his place. I just thought this was probably the one that was bringing in the better form. obviously when he won last time out, which was at Cheltenham, which was a Grade 2. So even his form before that is quite good as well. I still think he's got a little bit of improving on his jumping, but he looks quite a straightforward horse. I can't see why he wouldn't be able to go around Kelso. I mean, I can't not give a little mention to Laura Morgan's horse and Bold Endeavour, just the fact that, I mean, she's absolutely flying, isn't she? She's on 44% strike rate. Just got touched off for another treble. Was it yesterday or day before? Just trying to catch up on the news, but she's a great trainer, Laura. But I think North Lodge, I'm gonna go with him, and at the prices at 4.0, even better.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to take on Richmond Lake, so at 3.0. So it was who to do it with, really, rather than just lay him. I don't necessarily want the whole field running for me. I thought North Lodge stayed on really well to win last time. Drop back in trip is interesting. I suppose at the back of my mind, I've got the fact that Hillcrest unseated, and so I'm not certain about the form, but it was a nice performance. But I thought Charlotte Jack was probably a better 6.5 off the back of the Weatherby win last time. I know this is stepping up in grade. He's unbeaten. Not worried about not the fact they want a point, big deal. But you know he's looked good in two, probably modest enough hurdles so far. But I just wanted to find something to take the favourite on with, because he's there because he finished second to John Bond, which is the best form. But then you've got three unbeaten horses in the market in behind. So I thought he was worth taking on, and I wanted to do so with Shollock Jack. Steve.
Yeah, I agree with both of you that you take North Lodge. That you take on Richmond Lake, and Richmond Lake is favoured by the weights with North Lodge, because Richmond Lake was third behind North Lodge at Aintree, and he's got £11 turnaround for a length and a half. But that doesn't matter anything, because that was North Lodge's debut, and then he improved next time at Cheltenham, and I think he'll improve again. But the one I'm going to take a chance on is That's All Right Gino, who's got a P next to his name, and if he didn't have that, he would be virtually favourite, I think. And the reason he's got that P is because he pulled up in the Tolworth behind Constitutional Hill, but he never went a yard because the ground was awful. It wasn't just heavy, it was awful. And he just didn't go a yard. And he's run all right on soft. I'm taking a bit of a chance there to handle the conditions, because I think they will be soft, because there's a bit of rain around. It's sort of a mixture of good to soft and soft. But his pedigree suggested be all right on that. And before his form before, he beat JPR1, who although he bombed out in the big race at Newbury a couple of weeks ago, he's still a nice horse. And then he looked really good at Fontwell before that in a race that wouldn't have been the worst novice hurdle ever run at Fontwell. So winning place, I'm taking a chance on That's All Right Gino for Jamie Snowden, who is in great form.
And that's let me give you did I give you a price for That's All Right Gino? I'm not sure I did I? 13.0. Happy with that, Steve?
Yeah, that'll do.
That'll do you. That's the first of the races at Kelso. We're doing Charlotte Jack, North Lodge, That's All Right Gino. Essentially, we're against the favourite in there. Let's kick on and go back to Newbury. The Greatwood Gold Cup is the 150, and 7.5 is Dublin 4. Glen Forcer is next in at 8.0. Senior Citizen is in there at 7.0. Sorry, the market's just updating in front of me, given that decks weren't too long ago. Tamaraktu Mathan is 8.0. Amour de Nuit 11.0. Then we get into the slightly bigger prices. Thought this was an interesting punting race, actually, given the field that line up. I've gone for the outsider of the field. But Steve, you can come in first of all. I nearly went with you here with Venetia's horse.
Yeah, I seem to be all in on Venetia horses since she's said that they weren't right, but we're going to persevere. No, like I said, it doesn't worry me too much, because they don't seem to be running badly, and she wouldn't be running all of them like this if there was something drastically wrong. And Faranet is the one I've come down on, who came over from France with form over this sort of distance and created a good impression, bolted up at Sandown. That was back in March. And this season went back to Sandown and won a decent enough handicap a month or two ago. Last time at Sandown wasn't so good, finished last of 5 finishers, but that was over 3 miles, and he just didn't stay. I think this is his trip. I don't think it's not a massively competitive race, because a few of them have got, or most of them have got a bit to prove. The like Amula Gold stepping up in trip, and Senior Citizen, I don't like him on the ground. Kaluki, well, I'd be amazed if he jumps well over this sort of distance. And Dublin 4 fell last time, and I'm not convinced what he achieved. So I think Faraday should be favourite, really, and I'm surprised he's not.
That I thought Faraday should probably head the market, so that's where I was going to go. And then I just saw Kildesart lurking as outside of the bunch, and 21.0. It might be the stupidest shout of all time off the back of over a year off the track. He's in the national. This is probably just a sighter for that. Fine, but 148, and I don't. He has gone pretty well fresh in the past. He was only beaten half a length in his novice chase first up that season. He's finished second a few times first up. Like you, I found it easier. Well, I found it easier to put a line through some of them than I did this horse. So it's very much a win and place shout. But I don't know. I can see him going well. Kildesart off. He's definitely well treated off 148. I know it's a big old absence. But if you look at that Cheltenham form from 2020, where he was second off 150 and nearly won that race, maybe this trip is too sharp. But I'll have a few quid after him, mainly in the place market, but a bit in the win market as well. Adele.
Okay, well, I'm kind of going down the Paul Nicholls route. I know he's got a good record in this race, and to be honest, he's actually won it with horses that haven't been in the greatest of forms. They've not won coming into the race. I thought Amor Dunui? He's the one that obviously comes in with on the back of a win, but I think he was probably just making the most of a drop down in the weight. So I'm going to go with Tamarot du Matin, who I think I tipped at Sandown, didn't I? Because that was his first run in handicap company. But it was over 2 miles, which I think would have been probably too sharp for him. So I think the step up in trip will be a benefit to him. So I'm going to go with him again. I still think I just think there's something about him that I'm hoping we'll see the best of him on Saturday, stepping up in trip and in handicap company again. So I'm going to go with him. What price is he?
8.0. 8.0 is and a much shorter price was the drilling to just start just as I answered that question. 8.0 for Tamarot du Matin. Kildesart, Tamarot du Matin, Faraday in the Great Wood Gold Cup. We go back to Kelso. And this is a 2 mile 5 handicap hurdle. It's the 205. Famous Bridge is at the top of the market for Brian Hughes and Nicky Richards. They've been in good form recently. 4.0. Heart of Steel is 5.5. Wild About Oscar, 8.0. 9.0 for Elvis Mail. Then into the bigger figures. We'll get there. Elvis Mail, Steve Jones.
Yeah, return to sender, isn't it? Elvis Mail.
Oh, of course it is. I like that.
And I only just thought of that, so I didn't have that already.
That's exactly what it is.
Elvis Mail.
Have you ever done an Elvis impersonation, Steve?
No.
Well, you have now, and it was excellent.
Elvis Mail. So the angle in with him is he's been running in small fields for most of his life, or certainly you have to go a fair way back. And he loves a strong pace, which he should get in this. And small fields don't really suit him, but he's still been running well. The step up in distance is the only real worry, I think. He did run well over 2.5 at Aintree behind Tamar Bridge in Pounding Poet, which was a fair enough race. But he does like to be smuggled into it. So if he does stay, I think he's got a really good chance, because I think we've not seen the best of him. We've not seen him to his best advantage. And he's rated a lot higher over fences. In fact, he ran in the Grade 1 against Shishkin at Aintree last season. He was only 18-1, so he wasn't 1,000,000-1. So he's got a decent level of form, this horse. And like I say, I think everything will drop nicely for him. So if he sees the trip out, he's got a great chance, Elvis Mail.
Elvis Mail 11.0. Adele?
Looking at Famous Bridge with Brian Hughes, but even when he unseated Brian at Kelso the last day, he was looking a little bit workmanlike. So I don't know if he even would have won that day. So I was kind of looking for one that I think is quite consistent, got quite a nice profile, and still looks like they're improving. So that's when I come to Heart of Steel for Donald McCain. You've got Peter Kavanagh in the saddle, who he's got quite a good strike rate at the moment, 33%. I think he's maybe only had like 19 winners this season, but he's won on 3 of his last 9 rides, and this horse is quite a straightforward horse. He makes the running. I didn't see a whole lot of pace on in the race, so I just thought it'd be a nice spin round for Peter, and if he can just get himself into a nice rhythm on the front end. It was a nice performance by him at Uttoxeter last time out when he made all. So just thought he could do the same again, quite consistent, and it just looked like a nice straightforward horse.
That's where my pin came down. I can see why Famous Bridge is favourite, but I've been pretty impressed with Heart of Steel so far. Donald McCain's just having an absolutely phenomenal season. He's going to be right up there for on numbers wise, right up there with his best. Looking at it, and that's phenomenal given the few years that he's had. But anyway, I know that he's got to give a good bit of weight away to a horse like Famous Bridge, but he's progressing really nicely. He's won on different types of ground, so good and soft as well. So I think this will be fine, and I think he can probably dominate as well. I know Wild About Oscar's been on the speed before. Famous Bridge won't be right up there. I think he's the most likely one to go forward. So I think he'll definitely trade a good bit shorter anyway. So I might be looking at that angle. But I thought Heart of Steel, previous course winner, was the one to side with. Wouldn't be probably giving it away. That wouldn't be the strongest of shouts. So I thought it was a trappy little contest. Right. Let me tell you about, first of all, our sign-up offer, because that's when we normally do this. So the sign-up offer is the £20 welcome offer. It's money back as cash if your first bet loses. It is for new customers only with Matchbook. But if you haven't got a Matchbook account, it's an absolute no-brainer to do it, because you're likely to get best odds guaranteed anyway because of the nature of the Matchbook exchange. And you get £20 back to you as cash if your first bet loses. Full terms and conditions are on the Matchbook website for that sign-up offer, the £20 welcome offer. 18 plus, be gambled aware. And we'll do the next bit a little bit later on. Let's move on to our next contest, which is a Mares Novices Hurdle, the 220 at Doncaster. Adele, I'll give you prices once you've run us through who you fancy.
I'm going to go with Get a Tonic. I think she's got quite a nice profile for the race. You know, when you look through some of her form, you pull out a few of the names that are going to be heading to Cheltenham, Hillcrest, Iron Maximus, obviously Marie's Rock, who beat her the last day. And I think even when she ran at Warwick, what was that, over 2 miles and 5 furlongs, she kind of was just always kind of plugging on, you know. She looked like she was a little bit outpaced at times. So I think the fact that she's stepping up in trip will be a plus for her as well. So she's got a nice profile. As I said, there's plenty of names around her with the form that suggest that she's, you know, still got maybe a little bit more to offer. And I think she's well capable of holding her own at listed company anyway, especially against her own sex.
Yeah, I find that these sorts of races, particularly the mares listed races like this, Steve, are when it really can pay to ignore official ratings. I know I look at it in other races, but I think in these sometimes you just get an absolute springer that's got over a stone to foal, plenty to find, suddenly running a big race. What do you think?
They don't mean a lot, official ratings in these sort of races.
I've been telling you for years. I don't know why you sound like that now, but yeah,
well,
I agree with you.
I'll explain why. Because a horse that runs over 2 miles and a horse that runs over 4.5 miles, it's still a pound a length. And it's not a pound a length over any distance. It's much more than that. So how can the official ratings be right? They can't. So ignore them. But the great thing is, they often price them up on official ratings. Have I tipped the highest rated in this field?
Wait, hang on. You might have done. I'd love it. I would love it.
I thought you were setting me up then.
No, you haven't.
Yeah. I thought you got one over me. He's second top rated because it's Miss Fairfax. And Miss Fairfax has got great form all the way through her how many times she ran? 6 times so far. She was second to Love Envoy, who's unbeaten and looks very good on her return to action on hurdling debut this year. Then she's been stepping up in distance. She is a really, really strong stayer. And there's a fair bit more rain forecast, so it could go quite testing, even though it's Doncaster, which generally doesn't go as testing as some places. But she bolted up at Catterick last time, and I didn't think the track really suited her. And although it was a pretty uncompetitive race, that she absolutely bolted up. And I think she'd be better when they go a decent gallop on a track like Doncaster. Catterick was a bit sharp for her. So I think she's going the right way. And even though she's joint second highest rated, I'm still going to be with Miss Fairfax.
They don't mean nothing. Well, Miss Fairfax is rated 125. So Said I is rated 122. I think she's a fair price. 11.0. She's progressing very nicely. She stays the trip. Like, does Get a Tonic definitely stay?
She's a 3 mile point-to-point winner, and she was well clear of Indefatigable the stays 3 miles. So I'm fine. I have got evidence to back up. I think she'll get the trip.
Okay. I'd take more I'd be less on the point side of things, just because sometimes that doesn't always equate. She definitely shaped as though she should be absolutely fine over it last time, I thought. And she's got the best form. But I thought she was worth taking on by something that we can tick a few boxes with. So Said I. The ground, if it goes soft, is going to be absolutely no problem. She definitely stays. She's just progressing. She's pretty tough. I suppose she's one going right-handed. I don't know. Well, no, she's going the right way around here. I think she's very progressive and got a great chance. And I'm not going to say anything else about it. Let's kick on. He's put his drill away. He's got his hammer out now. Premier Chase, the 240 at Kelso. And this is over 2 miles, 7.5. Good looking renewal as well. Espoir de Romay is 4.0. I'm not sure where I am with him. Itchy Feet is 5.5. 7.0 Windsor Avenue. 8.0 Big River. Then into the bigger prices. Adele, straight back at you.
7.0 for Windsor Avenue. I mean, he absolutely dominated the Sky Bet Chase at Doncaster. Shame I wasn't on the pod that week because Brian Ellison, was I whether it be the day before or the day before, he showed me a video of him schooling in the first time blinkers before Doncaster, and he looked absolutely amazing. I think he was kind of crying out for a bit of headgear because he's actually quite a funny horse. He doesn't like being crowded. I think that's why he liked to be out on the front end as well at Doncaster, and it was probably a race that you were better off at the front because it was quite a messy race as well. But he did everything that Brian has always said he could do. You go back to even when he was second to Snow Leopardess, it was there. The signs were there. It was just kind of trying to get everything right for him. The races do have to go right for him because, as I said, he doesn't like being crowded by horses. So if he can do the same again as what he did at Doncaster, 7.0, that's good enough for me.
Did you tweet something about it? I remember you saying something about the working in the blinkers.
I mentioned it on the opening show, yeah.
That's right. See, that is really, I think that's sort of, did you tip it on the opening show?
I did. I couldn't decide between him and Midnight Shadow, and I think if Midnight Shadow, bless him, if something didn't happen to him, I think he'd have run a big race as well. But I couldn't decide between the two of them, and he was 40-1.
Imagine tipping a 40-1 winner on terrestrial TV.
I know.
Just drop the mic. You're done.
But a few people did back him because I gave him a mention on the opening show. So a few people had him.
Superb, brilliant. Chapman's never done that.
No.
What if he had? He'd have told us about it. What about you, Steve Jones?
No, I've never tipped a 40-1 winner. I did tip Storm Control. I did tip Storm Control, who was 5 lengths in front in that race at the last. And I said to a mate of mine, he said, "Oh, well done, well done." I said, "He don't do nothing in front, this horse." And I was right for the first time in a long time. It cost me. But this this is a really messy race, and although Big River's got £15 to find on official ratings with Espoir de Rome, Espoir de Rome might just win this. He might just be too good. He's got a very good record fresh, but he's fresh on soft ground up to a distance that he hasn't raced over in full because he fell in that Grade 1 behind Chantry House when he looked like he might win it. So it's tentatively taking him on, and I'm taking him on with Big River purely because he loves Kelso. He's got a great record around Kelso. He stays very well. So if it does turn into a real test, he'd love that because there isn't, again, a fair bit of rain around for Scotland. So yeah, it would be a very small bet on Big River, but there's my lay of the days in here as well, but I'll save that for later.
Just one thing as well, I suppose we better mention that Captain Ord has obviously gone on and won since as well, so that's boosted the Doncaster form. I suppose that's quite a significant win out of it.
He's a fair price. I agree with you. Windsor Avenue is a fair price. I'm with Big River as well. Loves it here, but basically, I didn't want to side with Espoir de Rome. I don't know why he's been off another 125 days. And itchy feet, first-time blinkers need to work. So I wanted to find something else, and I came down on Big River.
It's a very good song called Big River, and you won't ever guess who it's by. It's by Jimmy Nail. You should listen to it, folks. It's a good song.
And you love Alfida's Own Pet as well, don't you? Jimmy Nail's. There you go. Crocodile Shoes. Right. 255 at Doncaster. The Big Bite is 4.5. 5.5 for Gaelic Coast. King D'Argent is 6.0. Melistic is 6.5. 9.0 for Cheddleton, Bundoor and Cedar Hill. It's competitive. Melistic, Adele, take it away.
Melistic. I mean, I'm kind of like pulled him out of the sky, really. I mean, we don't see him very often, but when we do, he runs a big race. He maybe has a few niggles. I'll ask Peter when I see him. But the last time we did see him was at Ayr back in April when he was second to All Mankind. I mean, he was no match for him that day. He was rated 160, but he had Who Shot the Sheriff in behind him, and I think he won on his return this season. So just at the prices, really, I thought he might have been a little bit bigger, but I'll take that from him. I think that day, I think at Ayr, was it 2 miles and 4? I think probably just stretched him a little bit. Yeah, I think the back down in trip will probably be a plus for him. 2 miles. He's had a wind operation as well, so I think he can hold his own in this kind of company. So I'm going to go with him.
I'm going to go with Cheddleton, who I was surprised was as big as 9.0. The editor, the Geek form is rock solid. Weatherby, the time after that, he probably didn't get to dominate and probably paid the price for that. And then that's not his trip last time. And I'm excited to see him back over 2 miles and hopefully dominating. Again, he might not absolutely be able to because the Big Bite's gone forward before. There are others in there who won't be too far away, but that was where my ping came down anyway. Definitely, I think you almost might know his fate pretty early on, but some of his form's really, really good. I think he's a very good horse, and he's consistent off this sort of mark for all he's yet to win off anything this high. Steve?
Tell your neighbour, if you drill a hole, you don't have to bang the nail in.
I want to do more than just tell him that. Go on.
The Big Bite loves Doncaster. Got a really good record at Doncaster. Won there, beat Senior Citizen there a couple of years ago, and 2 runs since has been runner-up. Now the latest of those was back in January when is joint second to Funambule Sivola, who obviously went on to win the Game Spirit. So that's good form. And the horse that the Big Bite dead heated for second that day before midnight is a really good horse. So that form's rock solid. He is a bit of a one, the Big Bite. He should have probably won the Great Wood Gold Cup on this day last year at Newbury, but he chucked it away on the run-in. But I think because he's at his favourite track, I think he will put it all in, and that would make him quite hard to beat, I think.
That is the 255 at Doncaster. Did I give you a price for that? I did, didn't I? Yeah, 4.5. Let's kick on to the next we're going to be looking at, and that is the Moor Battle Hurdle. I think it's a really good renewal of this. We've got an Irish Raider, a horse dropping dramatically in grade. The horse right at the top of the market could well be difficult to beat as well, which is Metier. Apparently, he's going to go on from this and look to contest potentially a champion if he wins this, but we'll see. And remember, the Shunter won this before going on to win at the festival and get the bonus up as well. Metier for Sean Byrne and Harry Fry is 4.5. Autumn Evening is 7.0. Bouvardere, is 5.5. Favois is 10.0. Cormier is 10.0. A few bigger prices off the back of that. One of you's gone for Bouver, and I can't remember who it is. Adele, I was really tempted. I was tempted, but I couldn't quite do it.
How can you not be? He's got such a great record going fresh. Listen, I know he's in a handicap. I think it's his first run in handicap for I think I had a look through, since 2016, 2015, I think. If he can produce any of those, of his best runs, surely he'd be able to pick these up and carry them. But he's obviously been off for a long time, and some of these have got obviously race fitness on their side, but we haven't seen him, have we, since he was fourth at Aintree. I think his last win was in Punchestown. Was he in the Punchestown Champion Hurdle? So down into handicap company. I know it's a bit of a big ask off his weight, but surely if he's anywhere near as good as what he's shown us before, I thought at the prices, I'm going to go with Bouvardere.
Yeah, I was really tempted, but I don't know. I think it's a good race. For all, 153 should be absolutely lobbed in. I've gone with Autumn Evening, who Jess Carrington said there's more prize money than a county hurdle, and it should be less competitive. So why wouldn't you just go here? I like that idea, and the run last time I think is absolutely rock solid in that Grade B handicap hurdle at Leopardstown. Prior to that was a winner on similar sort of ground that he should get here. And I think what the horse wants is yielding to soft if it was Ireland, or, good to soft here, which is exactly what he'll get. You could argue that the 147 is, stiff enough given that he's 140 in Ireland. But I don't know. I'm not 100% on Metier. He doesn't quite, I don't know why, but he doesn't quite do it for me. I know that was a really good performance at Lingfield last time. It was very testing ground. All of his best performances seem to come on a very testing surface. So I thought Autumn Evening should certainly be closer to him in the betting. Steve?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, Bouvardere. He finished fourth in the Aintree Hurdle, obviously Grade 1. Beaten just less than 5 lengths, and they dropped him £5. I couldn't quite work that one out because those in front of him went up in the handicap, and they were only just in front of him. But the one I like, or I'm going to take a chance with a little bit, and I'm surprised he's such a big price, is Belko Saint, because although he's been doing his winning in France on soft ground, he's got all right form over here as well, and he won at Kempton in a novice hurdle, which is a listed race, but I don't say it was the most competitive. But Cobbler's Dream, who's in there, came out and won the Lanzarote. So there's a bit of substance to that form, without a doubt. And the problem with Belko Saint so far, he's been running in races like that he's been too keen in. And again, in France, they don't go very fast, and he has been a bit keen. So I think getting in a big field like this, where there are a few that like to go forward, so he should get a nice pace. And I think on the back of that, he should improve. And he's not been seen since October, but Jane Williams is someone who can certainly get horses ready. And she's had her horses in quite good form the last couple of months. So, a big price. I think Belko Saint down the bottom of the weights, a 5-year-old with his best days in front of him, and I think one of the good days will be this weekend.
Is the Bouvardere thing? Is it because he hasn't run for so long, and they changed it from it was 9 months that they're taking out the handicapping list, if you like, and reassess, and now it's 6. Maybe it would have been that anyway. I don't know.
It's not like he's been off 2 years. He's just been off since last spring. So
But he's
Look
always
at it.
had a long layoff before, hasn't he? He's been laid off.
Absolutely.
I suppose the winner was 158. That rated 158 that day. Miller's Bank was 147. Buzz was 153.
But Buzz went up £2.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And it was 2.5 lengths in front of Bouvier, who went down 5. So they're rating that 3.5 lengths is £7. Ironically, that's a lot nearer to the truth than £1 per length. So maybe the official handicap has listened to me and he's decided that it's nearer £2 a length.
The official handicapper? Maybe he has.
I doubt it.
Who is the official handicapper?
Well, there's lots of them, isn't there? Martin Greenwood is one.
Yeah.
Who does the Grand National? Who's a
Dominic
great guy.
Gardner-Hill.
Yeah, and then they're all quite nice guys, actually. The ones I've met are.
Brian says "Ain't No Doubt" is Jimmy Nail's top song. You heard that one, Jonesy?
Listen to Big River, Brian. You'll change your mind. It's a great song. It's all about Jimmy Nail growing up. It's genuinely great because he's a good singer, Jimmy Nail. He is a good singer.
I've never even heard of him.
You never heard of Jimmy Nail?
No.
Watch Our Vie de Saint Pet. Paul will like it. It's a good program. But it's a long time ago. I live in the past. I know that. I only watched Our Vie de Saint Pet and repeated the Sweeney. So
on we go. This is a sad insight into Steve's life. On we go to the Grimthorpe Chase, which is over 3 miles too. Lamilos is 4.5. I'd love Tim Vaughan to have a. I put him up as a trainer to follow last year. I think he had his worst season ever, bless him. But the reason was because he's changed things around at home, and maybe it's just taken a while to come to fruition. He's a top man, he's a top trainer, and I'd love Lamilos to win this for him. 6.5 is Storm Control, 7.0 for So You Think So Again, 8.5 Mr. Malarkey, 9.0 Power Station Park, Cloth Cap sets off the double figures. You both agree with Power Station Park?
I thought I'd done well to find this one, and I've seen Steve picked him as well.
Why? Make the case.
Well, I kind of was looking to take on the favourite because favourites don't have a very good record in the race, and also horses carrying 10 stone and above. I think there's only been 2 winners. I think you kind of want to be looking down the bottom of the weight. Storm Control, I thought obviously if Windsor Avenue wins and boosts that form, but then he's on a career high mark, and I just thought he might just struggle off it. So then I was looking for something that I thought was kind of still hiding, and Powerstown Park was one of them. I mean, I think if you can take out that pulled up, he had a win either side. I think maybe the ground was maybe a bit too soft for him that day. I don't know. But I just thought he's a horse that looks like he's improving. I think there's still a little bit more to come from him. I'm hoping Steve agrees with what I've said. I just think it looks a tricky race, so I'm gonna go with him.
Powerstone Park, Steve.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, of course I do, Adele. Storm Control broke my heart last time, and he'll get, because Lamilos will go from the front quite hard. Storm Control might just get a nice lead into it and win it, but having backed him at 16s or whatever he was last time, I can't go in again. So, but Powerstone Park, yeah, he's certainly got a lot of potential, this horse, and he's another horse. It's a little bit. He does travel very well. That's what I like about him. And he got to the front a bit soon last time when he beat Oscar Robertson. But that he should have won that a lot more easily. And again, with the strong pace, he'll be able to just come into it nicely, and he'll have it set up for him, is what I'm trying to say. And he travels like a horse that will be better in a better race, and that's what this is. So with Sam Thomas having a great season, he's got his horses in really good form. I thought Our Power was a little bit unlucky last week in the big race at Kempton. So he hasn't had a lot of racing. Jack Tudor, who won the big race at Kempton last week, is on board. So I think Powerstone Park has got an awful lot going to it for him in what should be an interesting race.
And I'm with Mr. Malarkey on first start for Richard Bandy, who's going along quite nicely. His form just tailed off dramatically at the back end of his time with Collins Izzard. I mean, the yard weren't in the best bit of form then, but it just, didn't look a happy horse at all. I think this is what he wants ultimately. I think this sort of test on this sort of ground is going to be ideal. And he's just an incredibly well-treated horse now. So I think he peaked at mid-150s. He lines up here off 142. He ran in the Sky Bet last year, which was obviously just over a year ago, off a stone higher. And I thought he was worth... I don't think it's the deepest renewal of the Grimthorpe, personally. So, I thought Mr. Malarkey was worth siding with, having had his win done first up for a new yard. Although it's speculative, wouldn't be surprising if he ran an absolute stinker. Nick Palfrey says, the big bite to Frank before midnight's grand annual claims. Lovely stuff, Nick. I think we touched on before midnight in our Cheltenham preview yesterday. Right, just a reminder about insights that we're going to do the lays and the best lays and the best bets shortly, but head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all of the panels, all of them, best bets, and that applies across all sports as well. And our Cheltenham preview will be up shortly there as well on Insights with all the bets there. So make sure you go to Insights and check all that out. Give us a thumbs up and a like, however you are watching us, and do subscribe as well via your preferred podcast app. Because again, for all of the matchbook previews across all sports, it's just there on your phone. If you subscribe, it makes it much easier to listen to. Even if you don't have signal, it'll just be there, and you can listen to all the drilling you like from next door. Let's move on to our lays. That sounded wrong when I said it, didn't it? Best lays. One of you's got one, haven't you? I've scrolled up now, so I'm not sure who it is. Steve, it's you.
It is, yeah, and it's Itchy Feet to lay to place. There's two places in the Premier Chase at Kelso. That's the 240. Itchy Feet. This is a bit of a straw clutching exercise, I think, over 2.7. Although he got home over 2.6 at Lingfield last time, he was never going to get to the leaders that day. He was just sort of picking the pieces up. And he hasn't won for more than a couple of years since he won that Silly Yards Chase. So I think he's just a disappointing horse. They're swapping the cheap pieces for blinkers. They're going to go quite hard in this because a few of them want to turn it into a stamina test. So I can't have him at all. He's going to bomb out, I think, Itchy Feet.
He was one of the horses I wanted to take on. Adele, have you got anything?
I suppose, seeing as Steve and I have tipped the winner, Powerstown Park in the Grimthorpe, I thought I might as well lay Limilos. Is it Limilos?
Yeah, there's Limilos. Yeah.
As well, just purely the fact that favourites don't have a very good record in the race, and I think you want to be looking for something carrying less weight. So Limilos is my lay for Saturday.
Well, I'm going to do it. I was waiting for the market to develop on Get a Tonic, but she's knocking around about even money at this stage, 2.0. If she goes odds on, I'm going to lay her. Sorry, Adele, I'm going to do it. I don't want to tell you what. I don't want to take you on.
I'm 1-0, aren't I, on the old lays? And
yeah, I think you are. Yeah, you stuffed Sam last week, didn't you? She comes across as all lovely and sweet, and then on the WhatsApp group, she was like, "So I told you." Best bets, please. Best bets. What's your best bet, Steve Jones?
It's in the Great Wood Gold Cup, the 150 at Newbury, and it's Farinay. And if I'm saying afterwards, Venetia Williams said her horses aren't right, but they're running all right, I promise you. And Farinay is back to 2.5 miles, is just what he wants, and he's still well handicapped. I'm certain of that. And I'm very confident that he's going to win the Great Wood Gold Cup.
Adele, your best bet?
I'm going to go for Windsor Avenue. His form has been boosted from Doncaster with Captain Ord winning the Coral Trophy. So he's not 40 this time, he's 7.0, but I still think he's a good price at that.
And I'm going to go with Heart of Steel for my best bet, agreeing with Adele there for safety, so that evens it out. But I think Heart of Steel is a bit underestimated at the prices. Recap of all the best bets are on Insights, or will be a little bit later on for you. Don't forget to check out the Cheltenham preview. It is there for you to get stuck into just inside 2 hours as well. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're enjoying our content. From Steve, Adele, and I, bye-bye.